Hi, this is Coach Aaron Saft in the Running is Life podcast. Today, I've got a really great friend and fellow adventurer. We've been through a lot together, and we just went through the whole Everesting experience together. So I'm bringing on the podcast one of my best friends, Nathan Frantz, to share the experience and talk about our thoughts and post-run analysis of everything that went on, kind of give you guys an idea of what we went through on the Everesting attempt. Great conversation here. Nathan just is a genuinely amazing human being, and I'm glad he's in my life. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Nathan. I am here with my adventure buddy, Nathan Frantz. We're sitting in my new camper. This is pretty awesome.
This is nice, yeah. Home away from home.
Home away from home.
Yeah.
Yes. Home for the summer. This is going to be fun. I got to show Nathan around. This is the first time he got to see the camper. So, and we just had an amazing adventure this past weekend. Oh my gosh. Those of you that have seen our Strava or our our posts know that we did an Everesting.
Yes.
And man, when I told Nathan about this, he's like, I want to do that.
That's exactly right.
But Nathan had just completed, why don't you talk about what you had just done?
I had just finished Massanutten Loop in Virginia, and it is 70 miles one way, and I proceeded to do it both ways. And so, yeah, we finished that 2 weeks ago. Yeah, pretty much. I had been like 2 weeks in a day when we did the Everesting,
which you seem to recover pretty well from.
Yeah. I am quite shocked myself how well I recovered from that one. And we can talk about the recovery from this one, but yeah, that was. I think part of it was I really wanted to do the Everesting, so I kind of mentally was like, I have to recover. So. Because I was looking forward to this.
Yeah. This was one of those. I don't think I could have imagined how mentally challenging it was going to get. But now I have a better understanding of what like a last man standing would almost feel like. You know, lap after lap.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I've never done a last man standing, but this kind of, not that we followed like the hourly format that like we talked about, and I'm glad we didn't.
No, yes.
And we can talk about that as well. But the lap, we'll just start with the lap.
Yeah.
And so Thompson Creek was the trail.
Yep.
We got about 1.3 miles.
Yeah,
up.
That's what I was seeing.
Yeah, it was about 1.3 up, so same back, so 2.6 for the lap.
Felt like 5.
It definitely felt like it took about an hour.
Yeah.
If we were going well, it took about an hour. You want to describe the trail? Just start at the bottom and then work your way up.
Yeah. So it was a immediate climb from our makeshift aid station that we had. But you literally walked as soon as you got out of the aid station. You were on an incline. The first, I feel like it was, mileage really doesn't work anymore. It felt like a mile, but it wasn't a mile. That was another interesting thing, is I never paid attention to mileage the whole time.
Yes.
But the first, what do you think, half?
Yeah, probably the first, like...
Is that half, or would that be a little less than half?
I say it was like, it's probably about like, maybe around like 3/4 of a mile, like without hitting the switchbacks, like before
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so the way I marked it out in my head was there was like a gradual incline, fairly straight.
Yep. For
the first section.
Yes.
That took, and then you had a creek crossing, and that was like, to me, that was like, okay, we have one more fairly good incline straight up. And then we get this small break.
Yes. Where
it was actually kind of flat.
Right.
And then after that, you knew you were getting into the switchbacks. And the switchbacks were, they did kind of gradually get you in. You know, it kind of, the first one wasn't so bad, and then they progressively got worse. And then, so you had like, I never did count how many it was. I want to say,
I don't know.
Maybe it was 9 or 10. And I just remember we would hit this one switchback that looked like another one, but I knew it had rock at the end of it. And we would get to that switchback, and it's like, okay, after this one, we actually have to go over the rock. There's like these rock slabs.
Yep.
And after the rock slabs, there was only 2 more until we got to the last long uphill stretch, until we basically got to our ridge line.
Right.
And at that point, once you got to the ridge line, you did have to go another, I don't know, 1/10 of a mile or something to get to our actual turnaround, where you had previously gone out and set a flag for us, so we kind of had a gauge of where to turn around.
Right.
We weren't just trying to go by elevation every time,
right?
Which was amazing. That flag was a good thing to see. It was funny how those little things. Little things. It was like, oh, thank God, there's that flag.
Yeah. So. And it was pretty too.
It was.
We have to mention that because Thompson Creek itself. That was nice, in the daylight.
Yes. In the daylight. In the daylight.
And then the views too. Yeah. Like when we got up high into the switchbacks, the views just were. I mean, we had some good sunrise and sunset, and it really was. So I mean, nice to look at. It wasn't like one of those trails you're like, oh God, there's nothing to look at. Where this was,
for sure.
It was nice, and it was odd too because I think we both mentioned that like we did not see really any wildlife.
That was so weird.
We didn't see any people. There were 2 people in that entire time. We did 28 plus hours, and there were 2 people.
2 people. It was bizarre. Hard to believe. Yeah,
it was bizarre. So and you kind of started talking about some of the rock outcroppings and stuff, and I think some of my concern became some of the technicality of those switchbacks, especially on the descent.
Yes.
And that's where I was getting a little bit, because my legs were getting tired, my brain was not working, and like there was just a lot of stumps, a lot of roots and rocks, and the rocks were shifting, and I mean, so the technicality started to play a role on the slowing of the descents. That was tough. The down lower, it wasn't as bad. Once we got off the switchbacks, there was that one steep kind of downhill.
Basically, right after you crossed the creek.
Right.
After that, it was kind of smooth sailing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it became, but, towards the end, it was just like, I hope my quads work.
Yeah, for sure. And it was so steep that, you felt like if something you would lock up or something, you're just going to fall forward. I mean, it was so that steep.
Yes.
And the other interesting, there were so many places you could have tripped your toes and grabbed roots, and which brings to another point that we haven't talked about, and that is actually we kind of cleared the trail as we started it. We brought a handsaw on like lap 3 or 4.
3.
And there was a low branch or tree that we cut out, so we didn't hit our heads at night.
Yep.
And then we also cut out a big tow root that looked like it was going to send us down the mountain.
Right.
And I think we cut maybe another tree. Oh, we cut another tree. I don't remember.
When we got to the one that was, we had to make our way around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was a big down tree that that was probably the toughest one to get over because of its positioning in the switchbacks, and so we made a route around that. So we cut out some like laurel so we could get around it because there was no getting over
cutting
it that many times or cutting it. So you're right. We did do some trail work before it became night because we started at about 5 p.m. Roughly 5 p.m. So we had to do a little trail work before it got dark. And anything else on the lap itself that like details that we can provide?
I think that covers most of it. We talked about the switchbacks, the steepness. I will reiterate that it was so pretty. Like, even though the mental challenge became intense, during the day, you could still look around and just really be inspired by what you saw. It was just, everything was green, and the terrain never got boring to look at.
No.
Which I kind of found a little bit surprising as many times as we did it.
We quickly calculated that we were probably looking at 23 laps.
Yes, unfortunately.
So with 23 laps, you're right. Like the lap itself never like tired on me.
Yeah.
It really was pretty, and I really did enjoy that, and it was so quiet. Every now and again you could hear the parkway.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And we saw the siren the one time.
Yeah, there was a chase on the parkway.
Yeah.
I'm curious about.
Yeah, exactly. There was that, but. Aside from that, like there was the one tree that always spoke to us as we went by. It creaked and moaned as we went by.
And we had the raining tree.
The raining tree, yeah.
We don't know what that was.
Something was dropping from it.
Yes, it sounded like it was raining, but it wasn't raining.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so quiet out there. I expected to see a lot more people, and but it was actually kind of nice.
It was,
and the weather was beautiful. We should add that.
It was.
The weather was
temperatures, everything. It was so perfect.
It never got hot. You got a little bit chilly
cold,
at night, but not too bad. Better than when we were at GDR.
Yes, way better than GDR. Yes, the wind did not pick up like crazy.
Exactly. So I would say, aside from that, the only other thing I'd probably touch on is some of the other obstacles that we had to get over.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The trail, I would say it hadn't been cut out in some time.
Yeah.
There's some trees that had been down for quite some time. And when we started, we had probably in the long stretch, the straightaway that Nathan was talking about, we probably had about 4.
Yep.
Yeah, the 4 trees that we had to kind of get over. And then one of our friends came and cut out 2 of them.
Yep.
So that left just kind of like one really, one-ish, one to get over, like at the bottom.
At the bottom, there was one to
get over, right?
One to get over with the step that he cut into it.
Yep, and then he cut a step into that. That helped a lot because at the beginning, getting over that thing was it was challenging. So that helped a lot. And then once you got up across the creek and got to that flat that you were talking about, there were 2.
2, that's what I remember. Those 2 got really annoying.
Yes, and before we cut out what we talked about earlier, we had to get over that one too, but we made the workaround there. So those were challenging, especially as it grew on. The one began because we had to step up on another tree that was down to get up on the tree, and that started breaking apart. Yep. So it was challenging, especially, you think about if it's 23 laps, that's 46 times over each tree.
Yeah.
So that was an extra, that was tough.
And the step is probably, it's at least 30 inches minimum of what we were stepping over. So it's not an easy step over,
Yeah.
You can envision a tree, it could be anywhere from 12 to 24 inches, but it was definitely exceeding that 24 to 30 to 36 inches.
And the one creek bed was coming up.
Oh, yeah.
That was getting tiring too.
Yes, it was.
Because it was almost a straight up. There was one little rock that you could get a foothold on and get your foot there, and then take the step up to get on top.
But it was.
But that was again coming back down too, because you had to get down that.
Yeah.
So there were some challenges in that regard too.
Yes, for sure.
The ups and overs.
Yeah.
We'll say the obstacles.
The obstacles of the trail.
So, getting more into like our specific stuff, our gear, we had our poles out the entire time.
Yes.
We did not put our poles away for one instance. They were out the entire time. I was using Leckies. You were using Leckies. Do you remember which ones you were using? Did you use the thicker one, or did you have the lighter weight?
Lighter weight ones.
Yeah, the lighter weight. Yeah. Okay. So we both had the lighter weight. We were worried about yours because you had a bow.
Yeah. Both of mine were bowed, but
they held
up, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So.
We did bring some backup poles just in case, but thankfully we did not need those.
Yeah.
As far as lighting goes, because we went through the entire night, what were you using for lighting?
I used a Petzl. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's an adaptive one. And then
the Swift, is it the Swift RL?
It's not. It's the older one.
Okay. I'll think of it.
Yeah. And then I also used the Ultraspire. I think it's the 300.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. But it has the battery in the back, and it goes up to, I believe, 800 lumens. Yeah. And that thing lasts. If you need a waist lamp, that is like the waist lamp. It lasts a very long time. It's a bigger battery than the old one.
Yeah.
So it lasts a lot longer. Super bright, and the headlamp still works. It's an older Petzl, but it still works great. And so, yeah. I also the Petzl did die at one point. It's an older one, so the battery doesn't last. Plus, I had it on its brightest setting the whole time. I used a Phoenix. I don't know what number it is, but it's a smaller one. But it works great for, when you have 2 lights.
Yep. Yeah, right on. I was using the Swift RL. I did 1 lap with the Illuminate 100 waist belt by Ultraspire, and we can talk about that. I think it was bothering my stomach, so only did 1 lap with that. But the Swift RL, I didn't have to change the battery, and I ran that sucker pretty much in mid to bright mode the entire time, and it lasted the whole night.
That's awesome.
As far as water carriers go, you were using
the Ultraspire. I don't even remember what that thing's called. It's just a 1 bottle.
Syntex, I think it is.
Okay, yeah.
I think
Syntex.
It was Syntex.
Yeah. Single bottle with a pocket in the front.
Waist belt.
Yeah, waist belt. And, I carried my phone in the front most of the laps and just 1 water bottle. And we can get into food later. But what did you carry?
I used the old Revolt, which has evolved a few times. It was the Basham for a little while. I don't know what it is now, but it's got 2 pockets in the back. You get a 500 milliliter flask can go sideways. I changed that out for a 20 ounce bottle.
Smart.
Put a 20 ounce bottle kind of sideways, and then I put my phone in the vertical pocket, and you can carry a second bottle, but I didn't need it. The 1 bottle was fine for a lap. And it's got a few small pockets up front that you can carry other stuff, so it worked pretty well.
Nice.
And then, so far as footwear,
I use the
Prodigio.
Prodigio Pro. Prodigio Pros. I have used those for pretty much all of my big events here lately, and I will say that I got no blisters and no foot problems really, but at the end, we were kind of having a discussion about footwear, and I think that with that shoe, it's just not very flexible, and I think over time it actually caused some foot fatigue because of its inflexibility. So it's an interesting thing to learn. I might try something a little more flexible next time with a little, maybe not less cushion, just something a little more flexible. But otherwise it worked great. I didn't have any, and it's kind of funny because in the beginning of the first, it was maybe 12 laps. I don't remember when Caleb came, but I had brought, I had a couple pairs of those, and unfortunately I grabbed the wrong pair, and the pair that I grabbed were older, and the laces had broke, and so I had to makeshift tie them together, and so I had to use those for the first half, and they worked fine still because these things fit like a sock, so I didn't have any issues, but it was just kind of a funny thing to start out with. But yeah, so what did you wear?
I was wearing the Lone Peak 9 Plus. I did about, I guess I switched them out maybe a little between halfway and 3/4 of the way through. Mm-hmm. I switched out to just another pair of Lone Peak 9 Pluses. They worked great. I didn't have any foot problems. They did great in Fierce Dragon. Did great out there. I don't, I can't complain about them. They are pretty thin, but even with the rocks and stuff, I didn't feel it. So,
okay.
I just ordered a new pair, but I also ordered the rock plate. Oh. Just to have in my drop bag.
Yeah.
Cause they're $20 for the rock plate.
That's interesting.
So I just ordered a pair just in case we go out west, and I'm I could use a little more protection, and then I can just throw them in.
I didn't know they could get one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and you can cut them to whatever you want. So ordered a pair of those, so I'll check those out. Yeah. And then socks.
Yep. I use the Exoskin toe socks. They are also what I pretty much always use. Mm-hmm. I have tried the Injinjis and they work too, but I just like the Exoskins because they're thinner. And I did change socks because when I changed my shoes halfway through, I noticed that one of mine had a hole in the toe. Oh. I hadn't noticed it, but I figured I probably should just go ahead and change.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I love the Exo toes as well. I use the Injinji Ultra. Just wanted a little bit more padding underfoot. The I've had great success with the Exotos, especially in warmer weather. But I chose the Injinji Ultra socks this time, and they worked great. Anything else we should touch on the gear wise? Anything else you think of?
Nope. We used poles. We talked about that. We never got rid of them.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So we never had to carry the poles, and I can't think of anything else.
Let's talk about our camp.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we had a hike in from the car. I don't know, 3/4 of a mile?
Yeah.
We hiked in 3/4 of a mile. There's a camp spot right where we started, which is I wanted to get there early just to make sure we got it, which wasn't a problem, thank God. But driving there, I was like stressed. I'm like, please be there, because there's no other campsite.
No, that's it.
That's it. They just lifted the burn bans, but the burn bans were in place this weekend. There was a fire pit there, but we couldn't have made a fire this weekend anyway. But we decided to go with a very simple structure. Rain was in the forecast at first. We did not get any rain, thankfully. So we just threw up a tarp. I picked up an 8x12 tarp at Ace and some cord, and we just strung up the tarp, which seemed to work great.
It worked great.
It kind of made it like home.
Yeah.
home away from home.
Yeah.
The rest of the camp you want to touch on?
Sure. So I carried in basically all my nutrition, which I brought a lot of sports nutrition, and I ate one gel, which was nice actually. And then I carried in some other snack stuff too, and change of clothes, some jackets, and then we both carried in a good camp chair. And it was worth the wait for sure. Also, I carried in a battery we would have places to recharge things if necessary, which I definitely needed.
That was great.
And so and then you want to talk about what you brought in?
Sure. Yeah, so I brought in a little REI kind of collapsible table, which was nice. It's super lightweight, so it wasn't really too much. Obviously, I carried in my chair. I had a Eno chair, which is super comfy. And then I had a hiking pack, and I threw in like a ton of ramen, mashed potatoes, like instant mashed potatoes. I brought in the Jet Boil. Brought in some filters. He brought in filters as well, because there was actually a creek like right next to the campsite that we could filter from and get water. Thankfully, we can talk about it, but some of the guys brought in some water for us, which was awesome. They brought in some jugged water. And then I brought in some little bites, the muffins. Brought in some honey buns, brownies, some pretzels, some goldfish.
The saltine goldfish.
Those were clutch. Some Cokes.
Yes.
You brought it.
I brought Cokes and
brought
Gatorades.
Some Cokes as well, and Gatorades. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think those were the major things that we kind of hiked in. But the tarp covered everything. Our chairs. We would have been fine, if it rained. It had kind of a pitch to it to the back, so it could drain off. Worked pretty well. Thankfully it didn't rain, but it was nice to come back to. Every once in a while. Go ahead.
We had two they're blow up lanterns. Little solar lanterns, and that was. So we had one on each corner, so it really made it feel like you could turn those on, and it was as bright as you needed it to be. You didn't have to have headlamps. So it really made it feel like a real aid station. We weren't just in the dark. So that was really nice.
It was. Yeah, that was nice. It was cool. It was just a cool little setup.
Yeah, I mean, I said at one point, I said to look there, and I was like, we were sitting in their chairs when we came back from one of the laps, and I said, we could have just set this up, sat here, and enjoyed this, because it really was so nice. You're right next to the creek, you can hear the creek, and the weather was just so perfect for camping, and but it was nice, to enjoy it when we did enjoy it.
Yes, so I got there a bit early. set up the tarp and, kind of set, the table up and all that stuff. And then I just kind of hung around and I took a nap.
Sounds nice.
There's a little waterfall just up from, where we were. So I hiked up there and checked it out, took some pictures. And then Nathan got in around like 4:30, I think.
Yeah.
It was. And then let him get ready, kind of helped him set up and everything. And then, like I said, we got started just before 5 o'clock.
Yep.
We didn't carry. Well, you carried a gel with you.
I carried a gel,
the first lap, and I didn't carry any food. I just carried water because when we got back, we
ate again.
Yeah, we ate again. So, I will say that like it was the camp was a little too enticing, because it was like it was comfortable. The chair was nice. We had food. We had all this comfort. Which I think definitely was tough sometimes to not just like
Stop
take a seat
for a second.
Take a breather, have a drink, because we weren't in a rush, which was good. Towards the end, we wanted to get done, but early on, it really wasn't.
Yeah, just do a lap, we can talk about the lapping as well.
Yeah,
we went. Original plan. Do you want to talk about the original plan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know if we.
No, you're good. Yeah,
I'm jumping ahead, but
good.
So we originally had the last man standing idea,
right,
where we do every hour. You do a lap, and then whatever you have left, you get to take off. Well, Aaron had done a precursor went out and to see how that was actually going to go, and he found out very quickly that was not going to be sustainable. We were going to end up with negative time basically, or no stop time. So we had come up with the idea of maybe 4 laps and then take a break. Which seemed like a good idea to me, and we pretty much did that the first 4 laps. And then after that, it kind of just was whatever we felt like, which was just fine. But it was just funny how quickly even that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, because after 4 laps, it was dark.
Yeah, it was dark. Yeah. And we weren't going to have company until like 1.
Yeah.
I think it was. And we'll talk about that. But it definitely devolved.
Yes. We had to keep going up, so there was some evolution, but the plan devolved for sure.
Yeah, it was just whatever we needed.
Yes, whatever we needed.
But I will say, we talked about this too. Even during the event, we talked about how like even the first 3-4 laps just seemed to go by.
They did, yeah.
And even when it got dark, it was okay. I kind of made mention that my stomach was the one lap. I think there were a few factors that could have contributed to that. 1, the waist lamp. 2, I had on those compression tights.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And my groin was kind of bothering me the day before, so I wore compression tights, and I think those were a little bit tight, and then throwing on the waist lamp, I think, kind of threw it over the top. So I eliminated both of those items, and my stomach was fine after that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'd get some kind of, stomach upset, but nothing to the point of anything in the past. I wasn't, I wasn't throwing up or anything. So managed mischief. Mischief managed.
Mischief managed, yes. Yes, we have heard of the mischief.
And we started caffeine pretty early.
Oh, yeah. I think we started drinking Coke.
Coke, yeah. Pretty quick.
4 laps,
yeah,
probably.
4 laps. Before dark, I think we started drinking Coke, which I think helped too.
Yes.
So I think starting that early was great.
Many cans of Coke, that's key.
Yes. Yeah. And we had the capacity for coffee too, which was nice. In the morning we made some coffee, so that worked well. So we got through 4 laps, and I think we were coming down, and it was getting pretty dark. I think that was lap 4.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And by the time we were lap 5,
that's what it was on lap 4. Was we were sucking every bit of daylight out of that.
Yes,
it was dark pretty much when we got back to camp. But we made it back to camp without headlamps. So.
Right. Yep. And then we brought them just in case.
Yeah.
We did have headlamps just in case. But yeah, so lap 5, we started in the dark.
Yeah.
Different experience, absolutely
for sure.
different experience. And I think most people understand what we we say when it's a different experience. Yeah, because I mean, it's just totally different. You know, your sense of your surroundings is diminished to what your light shows you.
Yeah.
You don't get the views. You know, it's so different. The only thing we could see were the lights of Pisgah Inn when we got to the switchbacks.
Yeah. It was cloudy that night, so the moon wasn't even really out, even though it was a full moon.
Right. We got one peak that one time, but other than that, it really didn't see the moon.
No.
Yeah, it was a pretty dark night.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think some of my hesitation was because I knew how many tripping hazards were up on those switchbacks. It made the descents even slower because it was just like there were so many. And like, Nathan was saying earlier, it's just one toe tip and you were going to go.
It's so steep. I mean, it wouldn't have taken much to fall. And
right.
We didn't. Neither one of us fell the whole time,
exactly.
which I'm pretty impressed with.
I know. It's like we both stayed up. I mean, there was a few catches, but then we both stayed up, which was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we both were feeling different things towards the end.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But, I think the nighttime, it was pretty peaceful. I was really looking forward to. We had Val Myers coming.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about Val?
Yeah. So it was an interesting. You say me talk about Val, but it was just kind of crazy. He just popped up on your Strava, I guess, and asked about showing up.
Yeah, totally.
Which was awesome for him to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And support us. Which I met him at. I can't remember the name of that race. It's in Silva.
The Salt on Black Rock.
Yeah, Salt on Black Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'd gone there to support my friend Teresa, and just happened to meet him, and that was the first time I seen him. He knew about me from Foothills Challenge that I did, or the Foothills FKT, and so it was cool. I got to see him there, and then all of a sudden, Aaron's like, "Oh yeah, that Val guy says he's going to come out." So we actually hadn't had a chance to really talk, other than I got to talk to him when he went after my Palmetto, me and Sean Clayton's Palmetto FKT. He went after it, and I got to talk to him then while he was doing that. But other than that, we really hadn't got to talk. So, like you said, I was excited to get to spend some time on the trail with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you tell what did he just come up on?
Yeah. So I had posted, about the run that I did out there at Thompson Creek, and just said, hey, this is, my prep for my Everesting attempt. And Val was like, oh, dude, I want to be a part of that. Like, just come out and support you. Which was awesome. Yeah. That's awesome that, he wanted to do that.
Community.
Yeah. So, we got in touch. I sent him my phone number, and we started texting, and he texted us, and he was like, hey, going to be arriving a little bit late, but, he came and brought some burritos.
He brought burritos, which were awesome.
Oh, yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
He brought some gummy bears, this wild espresso. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff was...
Woo! That was rocket fuel.
Holy jeez.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, 2 sips, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Let's go.
But, it was just his enthusiasm and positivity were infectious.
Definitely.
He had some great stories. He's an adventurer in the Arctic.
Yeah.
Told us a lot of stories about that. He has a book. I'll try to put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure.
With the book, because he talks about not only the Blue Ridge in Appalachia, but about his adventures with guiding and all that stuff.
And the big thing is his adventure traversing the Arctic, which is, if you know exploring, you know what that is, and it's a pretty major thing that's not very many people have gone after. So it's very impressive that he even went after it. But you should definitely get the book and hear more about that.
Yeah, I agree. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool,
especially since I had never met him.
Yeah,
it was just really nice to kind of catch up and talk to him.
Yeah,
and, he was his. Almost his newness to the sport, it was fun to kind of have that side of it.
That's true.
Being on
freshness,
the other side of it, it's having that fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Was really nice.
Yeah.
Like, I love hearing that, all of these firsts for him and stuff, like he was asking me questions. I've done that one, and like it's,
one time he's like, "So wait, what major do you have left?"
But I really enjoyed our time with Val. It felt almost too short.
I agree. Yeah, he had to leave before.
Yeah,
I had so many more things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. But it was nice to have that company.
Yes.
And we had a few laps back in the darkness together, and then Caleb showed up.
Yep.
Our friend Caleb Gandert, and Caleb was, oh my God, you talk about just like the most helpful.
He was. he was the.
Oh my gosh.
The clutch crew for sure.
He brought out an electric chainsaw and made that step for us, and took out a few other little logs for us.
Yeah.
He was down at the camp. What can I get you? What do you need?
He made us ramen and potatoes, and he also he brought in my correct pair of shoes that I meant to bring. He also brought in Uncrustables that we ate a ton of those. That was another big thing that we ate on. Yeah, which is those are my two things, is Coke and Uncrustables. I think I could do a whole race on just those. But he just was so clutch. I mean, really, we couldn't have. I mean, it would have been difficult to do without him. It was just, and then he did laps with us too. He was crewing, and then he came up and he would walk up with us. So that was awesome.
He brought us into the daylight.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was around for a while.
Yeah,
I think he got 15 miles. Ended up doing like 15 miles, which is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because let's see, 4 laps is 10. So roughly 6 laps.
Yeah.
I think he did around 6 laps.
6 laps, which is 4 laps was
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, so that's 7,500.
Yeah,
7,500
feet of gain. And he jokingly said that was like double what his normal weekly was.
Right.
So he's been a bit of a flatlander here lately on his training. But
that was, and he brought in water. He brought in water.
That's a good
that was
point.
Clutch.
Yeah, because we had a problem with the water.
Yeah, we were filtering and it just didn't taste right.
Yeah,
I mean, it was okay, but it kind of soured my stomach a little bit. But the jug water was
perfect. Yeah, it was
so
much better.
So much better. But I say, my favorite memory with Caleb, that section, was when we were singing Nathaniel Rateliff.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
We turned on SOB by Nathaniel Rateliff, and we were all singing.
Yeah.
It had been kind of slow up to that point, and all of a sudden it got fast on that descent.
Yeah.
I think the music brought us back around a little bit.
For sure.
That was my favorite memory with Caleb.
Yeah.
It was nice having him out there. Caleb is just a kind, gentle soul that he's fantastic to have around. He makes some funny noises, doesn't he?
He does if you've ever ran with Caleb, you know it's not a quiet run. And it's not because he's talking all the time.
He makes some funny noises.
He does make some funny noises.
Not even old man noises.
They're Caleb noises. I'll tell this story on him. But me and another friend who does not run, she's actually a recording artist, and we joked that one time I was going to record a run with Caleb, and she was going to use the remix in some sort of song, because it's just so many noises. It's just hard to describe. It is entertaining at the very least.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man.
I was sad when he said he was going to get going. I understood, though. He had done so much for us, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And then we were waiting on to see who would bring us food first. The next one was Beth and Zach.
That was funny.
Yes, my wife Beth was bringing us Pisgah Bakehouse egg sandwiches. And Zach was bringing us Subway subs, and it just so happened that they arrived at the same time.
Yeah, we had double food.
I think that was around about 1 p.m. if I'm thinking right.
So it might have been slightly earlier, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
it felt like brunch.
It did. We were just so looking forward to the real food.
Oh yeah,
that's the reality. Is like the burritos were wonderful. Really enjoyed the burritos.
Yeah. And we ate potatoes with Caleb.
Yes, yeah, we did.
And that was good.
Yeah. No, it was, yeah.
And we were eating Uncrustables, but
yeah,
we were just both getting kind of tired of anything sweet.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And that the bagel and egg sandwiches were, man, that just hit the spot.
That did hit the spot so good.
So, and then, it wasn't soon after that we cracked into those subs.
Yeah, I think it was like one lap, maybe even.
We were back at the subs because I think I was just getting hungry.
Yeah.
Because, let's see, we were, like with Zach, I think we had 7 to go. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds right, because, it was 7 to go, yeah, for sure.
I think we had 7 laps to go, so we were at like 17 by that point.
Yeah.
And I, like, my legs were feeling fine.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't sore yet. They weren't tired.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, normal tired.
Yeah.
But
it's just like fatigue.
Yeah,
it's like
fatigue.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but I wasn't sore, which I was like, wow, like,
Same here, yeah.
We've got a lot of, elevation up and down. Because that's the other thing, too, is, like, a lot of times, like, the down is what's going to start impacting people.
Impacting the quads, yeah.
Exactly. And we ran up and down, where some people, they
have the ability just to go up,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and another discussion that you and I had during the Everesting was because when Val had done that, we should bring that up. Val had done an Everesting in Montana, and I believe his was a half mile with like 860 feet or something like that. And we were discussing like what would be better? Would it be short and steep? Or what we were doing. Yeah. And,
which isn't long either.
Right.
Yeah, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Yeah, I still don't know.
Coming down something that steep, like, would that impact us more? I don't want to compare, honestly.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not going to compare. I'll put it that way.
But, maybe somebody has done it and can kind of chime in and be interested to hear Val and hear what he thought about, because we didn't get a chance to ask him about that.
Yeah, that is true, because he's kind of experienced both to some degree.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
We talked about that as well, which was kind of...
Yeah.
But Zach joined us for 2 laps. Yeah. Zach's racing Hellbender next weekend.
Yeah.
Man, he's doing Uray as well.
Yes.
So he's got a big schedule.
Yeah.
But it was nice to have Zach.
As does Aaron.
No. And he told us his infamous joke.
Oh yes.
It was great. Sometime maybe we'll share that joke, but or maybe Zach will share.
Yeah,
it.
You'll have to ask if you see Zach on the trail. Ask him to share the joke,
or I'll have Zach on the podcast sometime.
There we go.
He can share his joke. I don't want to take his thunder.
Yeah, no.
But no, he it took him a little while, but he started kind of getting more conversational.
I think it was partially our own fault. I think we were in a mode at that point.
Well, at that point, lap 17 or whatever we were at, we were, I guess it would have been 16.
Yeah.
I was just intent on the trail.
Yeah, and I was the same way. It was, you're just so focused. We're getting exhausted.
Yeah.
It's taking all your mental capacity just to keep going.
Right.
And think about, where you're putting your feet, the fact that you have to, it's like you tackle one mental battle. Like, okay, I'm tackled this section, and then you just start a new section of the trail. It's like now you're having to tackle that, and trying to block out the fact of how many laps you actually have left,
right,
and how long each lap takes. And so it's just like, you want to talk, but you're just mentally constantly dealing with these like internal battles, I think.
Yes, yeah, because it was hard to stay present. It really was.
Yeah,
You knew exactly what each lap entailed.
Yes.
How far it was, how much climbing it was, and how much you had left.
Yeah.
And that was daunting,
For sure.
Especially at like 7, because you're like, oh my God, that's, it was hard to think about. You're like, oh my God, that's still so much.
So many hours.
Because I think like we talked about, that the deterioration started after lap 12.
Yeah.
It was like lap 13.
Strange.
Yeah, it was like we got halfway, and then lap 13 was like, oh my God, why is this so hard?
Yeah.
It was like it had been going fine.
Yeah.
And then lap 13 hit, and it was just like, oh my gosh. It just became more challenging.
Yeah.
After
it just started feeling slower, even though, I look back at some of our times, and they really weren't drastically different. Obviously you could see when we took big breaks, but outside of that, they really weren't. I mean, you're talking maybe 10 minutes, but that's really not that much in the grand scheme of things. But one story I do want to share was right before both Zach and Beth came. We had this moment where we got back to camp, and I think we sat down or something, and it was just like we had to. You look at the clock, and we knew that they could be there any minute.
Right.
But most likely it was going to be a minute. And so I looked at Aaron. I knew he didn't want to get up. And I was like, I think we need to go do another lap, man. And I could see the desire not to get up in his face. And I was like, if we just go do one more lap, they'll be here. So I remember that pretty clearly.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That took a lot of fortitude.
Yeah. He didn't like me right then. He was definitely some disdain.
I was just looking forward to so much food.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can never. I can't express how hungry I was.
Oh, I was too, buddy.
Oh my God.
And that bagel sandwich just sounded so amazing.
It was. But he was right. We didn't have time to waste. The longer we waited, the longer this was going to take.
Yeah.
So I realized that, and I was like, yep, he's right. As much as it's going to hurt, let's go.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a great point. That was tough.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, we got up and we got going, and we did another lap, and thank God they were there when we
they were.
Got back. Yes,
we got back and we got our food back.
Yes, yeah, and the dogs were there.
Yes, we were greeted by everything.
They were there, which I heard the barking, which just made me instantly smile.
Yeah. Yes,
they were funny. So yeah, it was nice to get back to camp and see Beth and Zach and have Zach come with us for 2 laps. I really enjoyed my time with him.
Me too.
But then we had 5 to go.
Yeah, he got us to 5 to go.
And oh my God,
it sounded so good at the time.
Yeah, it did until we started thinking about the numbers.
Yeah, until we got to 5.
Oh my God, you're just like, oh my God, we still have 5 to go.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, and
almost soul crushing.
We were. It's just that you start adding the time, and just if we were able to keep hours,
right.
That's 5 hours.
It's still 5 hours.
And I knew that we weren't going to keep it exactly at an hour.
Yeah.
Especially with any kind of stop.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Oh my God.
You couldn't think about it.
Yeah. Well, and it was still, that's still over. That's like 6,250 feet of climbing still, with 5 laps to go.
It's just unreal.
And you're just like, oh my God, that's like 12 and a half miles.
Yeah.
And so you start running these numbers in your head, and you're like, oh my gosh. And after all this time, you're just like, still that much. And
then we've been out there that's the other factor, is it's not like, I mean, the time is just going, and
it just keeps going.
We kind of had, when we originally talked about this, we had the last man standing idea of 24 laps and 24 hours.
Right.
That sounded great.
It did.
It sounded amazing.
It did.
But
it didn't.
Reality is that just didn't work.
Not with this lap.
No, not with this lap. That's the other interesting thing. I wonder, can you do something steeper and shorter in less time? I don't know.
Right.
That was the other part that we talked about, like some other courses that are on ski resorts, they're not, maybe they're technical to some degree, but they are more open, and the descents probably are going to be faster,
right,
even on tired legs. Because like Aaron said, on some of the parts in the very beginning on the switchbacks, it is just so steep that you had to be so careful. That's, I think that idea wasn't necessarily non-realistic. It just wasn't realistic for this course.
I think the other thing, too, when we look at the metrics, if you dive back in the metrics on both of us, our heart rates were low.
Yeah.
Which was incredible.
Yeah.
For what we were doing,
yes.
When you look at time spent, even in recovery zone, how much time was in recovery zone was pretty impressive for what we were doing. I only had 19 minutes in zone 5.
Wow.
19 minutes, 28 hours
that's
on
impressive.
that climbing, that's I was like, wow, that's surprising. And
it is surprising.
Zone 4 was still under an hour. I think it was 49 minutes in zone 4 for 28 hours, with 29,000 feet of climbing. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
There's that piece of it too, where we probably could have pushed the heart rate a little bit more into zone 3.
Yeah,
into the endurance
that's
zone.
true.
But at the same time, that wasn't what we were after. We were after the 29,000 feet.
Yeah.
So.
And the reality is, even though this was a big event for both of us, I think both of us were using it in some ways as a training thing. It wasn't supposed to be an A-goal event. It was just a...
No, neither of us tapered for this.
Yeah.
I got
training in a lot of ways.
I got 90 miles in.
Yeah, right.
Last week I had almost the same the week before, so with a half marathon race. So it was a great training event.
Yes,
a C event.
Yes,
it was more of a C event than anything.
Right, I agree. Which is fun. It's kind of fun to have those kind of events, for yourself, where you cannot have to worry about the time or any of those things. You just do it.
Yep.
You start to worry about the time when it just doesn't seem to end.
Oh my god! Or your watch doesn't turn over, which we'll talk about.
God.
But I mean, that gets into the mind games of this whole thing.
Gosh.
We talked about how we got to 5 laps, and I mean, the only thing that I could do was just say, okay, when I get through 5, I've got 4, and this is, 4 laps is manageable. That's the only way I could break it down and process it, at that point. It was just I could only take it a lap at a time. And when we got to 4, it was okay. I got, I only have 3 more ascents after that. We'd be going up the 4th time, and I'd be I only have to go on this ascent 3 more times. And that's what I kept telling myself.
Yeah.
It was the only way I could get through it. The mind games were just getting harder and harder to abate because of the, looking at the watch and being we are getting closer, but there's still so much to go,
Yes.
That was hard. That was really hard. And I think with 3 laps to go, we kind of were
it felt in sight.
And we
doable.
we turned around. We didn't sit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We just started turning around and
going
instead of sitting. We were just grab what we needed and go. And we did the same thing for 3, 2, 1. We I grabbed my sub and was eating on the way up.
Yeah, we debated on stopping, and we finally decided just to
grab and go. Yeah. So we just because we wanted to get, but we wanted to try to get because darkness was coming again. And you were I'd love to finish before darkness, which, we got up to the top.
We got up to the top without headlamps.
Yeah, and then we had, headlamps on the way down.
Which was fun.
But,
I don't know. I really loved that we did finish before dark.
Yes, yeah, we pushed.
we did push. Yeah,
to get that done, which was amazing. Yeah, given how long we had been out there that we were able to push those last it was actually those last 4 laps.
Yeah, we really did.
We just pushed them and made it to the top before darkness. Now that last lap, I was talking about my watch.
Yeah,
we got to the top and you kept turning around and looking at me, and I'm it's frozen.
Yeah,
it was frozen. It was 28,975 that it froze on.
Yeah.
And I'm it's not changing.
Yeah.
And we kept going up.
How far are we going to have to go?
And finally it changed to 29,067.
Yeah.
I was that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. Yeah, which brings to another point. I was having to look back at his watch for 2 reasons. So that's another, you're going back to the head games. So we found out early on, for some reason, my watch was counting higher elevation gain than his was. We weren't sure exactly which one was right. We think it was probably somewhere in between the two, but nonetheless, eventually mine got to almost over 1,000 feet ahead of his.
Yes.
And so according to my watch, I would have really only had to do 22 laps. We were pretty sure that was wrong. I don't think that was correct, but that was a mind game. I no longer had a metric to look at.
Right.
From on my watch, and that became difficult. That sometimes on 100-mile races, or even on this, you were able to watch the elevation and see the elevation tick by and feel like you were getting somewhere. Well, I couldn't do that anymore because it didn't matter what my watch said.
Oh yeah,
it was going to be not enough, and so that was also another thing that kind of became challenging to me. I couldn't think about how close I was to 29,000 because my watch said I was way closer than I probably was. And then on I think it was on lap 21 and a half or something like that. Yeah, it would have been 21 and a half. I looked down and my watch is glitching. It does this weird screen, and I thought it was just like freezing up, and then it just turns off. The battery died for whatever reason. It shouldn't have. It should have had plenty of battery, but it did. And so now I have no metric to go by. I did start my phone just so I could record the whole thing. But, those last laps, I didn't know where we were going to be, how long it was going to be. I was literally just having to wait for Aaron to tell me. But yeah, that was another piece of the head game that became, kind of frustrating, just not having the only metric I had was how many laps we had left, the lap that we were on. And like Aaron said, it really didn't feel, it felt, we knew, like we talked about this, we knew there was never a point where we were like, we're not going to make it.
Right.
It was just, how daunting was it,
Yeah.
And how soul crushing it felt. And it was just, that we talked about how comfortable the camp was, and somehow, like, you sit down at that camp, and it's not because we had some very tired laps that we talk about, but he said that one point, I know I was tired, but at one point I almost fell off the trail. And, we struggled through those moments. But at the end, it wasn't about being tired. It was just about wanting to be done.
Yeah.
And somehow, you want to sit down and relax. But when you do that, you realize that all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. You've got to get back up, and you got to go and do it again. And that's the only way you get to sit down and enjoy that time.
Right.
And it was wild how it took until 3 laps to go before we were able to feel like, okay, we have this in the bag,
Yep.
And 3 laps is still 3 hours.
Yeah.
And if you don't realize that's not, it sounds small, 3 laps, but it's still 3 hours.
Yes. Yes.
But to us at that point, really 3 hours sounded so doable.
We were like, yes, let's do this.
We could do 3 hours, which is wild. It's just looking back, thinking about it. That is pretty wild.
You also brought up when we were going, and it was towards the end that you mentioned, like, you recognized that when you were tired, your body presented yourselves with pains that maybe weren't realistic. Why don't you talk about that? Yeah,
it's something I've been noticing on these, in some of the events that I've done recently, how I get fatigued, and I just get these strange. I say strange. They're not really that strange. Like knees will hurt. Get really just odd pains. I remember when I did Foothills FKT, it was actually my calf that was really bothering me, and as soon as the race I was done, it went away. And it was a similar thing to this time. I don't remember exactly what pains came up, but I think my feet were really bothering me. And it was actually on lap 3 that, I don't know that I said this out loud, but the pains kind of went away. Mm-hmm. Like, they were sore, but they weren't hurting anymore. And I really have attributed it to just that fatigue where your body is trying to get you to stop. Your body's like, okay, what signal can we send to the brain to say this is enough? And, in reality, I knew that it's not like I've got a torn muscle. There's not something actually physically wrong with me. I just, my body's trying to get me to stop because there is fatigue. It is tired, but I know that there's more in the tank. There's more there. So you just push through it and you'll be okay. And it's very helpful to, I've had some minor injuries. I've never had anything serious, thankfully, to familiarize yourself with what injuries feel like, which is why I think it's important to go to PTs when you think you have an injury, because at least you can identify, is this something real, or is it just, what does it feel like? We try to assess, and that's okay to a point, but it's much more helpful to have a medical professional be like, oh no, this is a tear, or no, there's actually, it's just like tendonitis, and then it helps you recognize when you're out there and you are tired, your mind's going to start going, oh man, I must have tore this is why it hurts this bad, or we start playing these head games, and you need those things throughout training to help you correct what your brain is telling you, help you correct those stories, and it could just be fatigue that you can push through. So yeah, that's something that I have learned personally.
You had a flow moment right there, man.
Oh. Did I now?
It was quite amazing to, he went from like, oh man, my feet are killing me to, you were beyond it.
Yeah.
I had a moment where we had registrations due for our regional meet, and I wasn't getting the answers I needed, and registration was due by a certain time, and I'd only have time at the top of the climb to get those registrations in. And it must have been, I had a lot of caffeine and I almost went into a panic attack. We got to the bottom, and I couldn't control my breath for a moment, and it was very similar to Old Dominion when I went into a full panic attack. But I recognized it and controlled the moment. Went into just breathing, just trying to find calm, and I was able to manage it. Thank God, and say, I will get this done. It will be done, and thankfully it didn't go beyond that, because that could have really wrecked me. I recognized that lap that I was watching my heart rate, make sure I was okay, and I was my heart rate went back down, and thank God. But yeah, I was so, man, almost overwhelmed at that moment by, I don't have the answers I need, and I need to get this in, and I was, it kind of stressed me out. And I think it was because I was tired and had a lot of caffeine in my system, a lot of stress from just the event. And then that on top of it. It wasn't what I needed, at that moment. And that was a scary moment for me, because I was like, I don't want this to take me out of this, because of, a panic attack. And thankfully, mischief managed once again.
Mischief managed.
The only other thing I can say is my back. My back got so tight, I think, with 3 laps to go. I was having a hard time breathing because my back was just so tight, and I think it's because we were hunched over so much and just digging in with the poles. My triceps are sore. I think that's the sorest thing on me.
My shoulders was the sorest thing on me too.
That's probably my lower back sore, but it's definitely from hunching over and pole digging. That was the worst thing for me, was just my lower back.
Same.
It was just I was trying to breathe, and I was like, I can't breathe, it hurts. But aside from that, the legs were okay.
I know,
I'm okay today. I've taken 2 days off just to make sure. Groin was a little bit sore. Started getting a little bit sore on those last few laps, but not any worse than it was prior. So
that's good.
Yeah. So good. Coming out of this, I'm okay.
Yeah. Good. That's good.
You too?
Yes. Yeah. I'm same. I had, my shoulders were definitely the sorest thing on me. I mean, I kind of mentioned earlier, the difference, looking back at Massanutten, it's kind of interesting. I mean, that was 140 miles, and it had actually almost 31,000 feet of gain and 51 and a half hours of time. I had 2 hours of sleep in the middle, but still 51 and a half hours time passed. And if I have to compare the two, I'm more sore from this. It's nothing serious, but overall, my body can feel it more, which is very strange. Haven't quite put a finger on it. I'm assuming it's just how much vert that we had to do. And I think was much more of a full body kind of thing. You're constantly using your arms, and it was just interesting.
It is, yeah.
But
I was definitely digging those poles in.
Yeah, me and you both.
It was.
We talked about the leaf litter.
Oh my God, the leaf litter.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like skiing sometimes.
Yes.
You just slide. You're like, and it just gave you that panic. You're like, and then you controlled it, and you're like, okay, but
so annoying.
Oh gosh, yeah, because there's nothing you do. There's no shoe that's gonna grip that. It's
we need leaf crampons.
Right. Oh my God. It's that was the switchbacks mostly was where those leaves were.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so when we finally saw the 29,067 feet, we took a picture,
Yes.
celebrated the moment. I mean, it absolutely felt like the biggest relief.
Oh, it really did.
To see that number.
It
was
did.
just like, we're done.
Yes.
We did it. It just was such a like moment to, I just
Absorb.
Yeah. It was. It definitely hit me. Like I was like, we did it, and like that. I haven't had that feeling in a long time.
Yeah.
I could say like December 31st. Like, when I hit.
That was a good moment.
I was like, I did it. But it's there's rare opportunities like that where it's like, that's awesome. And then we just walked down.
Yeah.
We just turned on our lights. We didn't even think about running.
Yeah.
We just walked down.
I really, actually, that was probably the best. I enjoyed that run down, or that walk down the most.
Yeah. We just took our time, got down. Beth had texted me that she was coming in.
That was so awesome.
Yeah, to kind of help us get out. Because we had a walkout still.
Yes.
So
we had all our stuff to get out.
Oh, man.
There was the last walkout.
Right. Yes, we had to pack up.
Yeah.
It was about 9:30 when we got down to camp, and we packed up everything and hiked out, and oh man, she brought pasta casserole, something or other, which was just
so good.
Yeah,
I think I ate half that thing.
Oh my god, it was awesome. Yeah,
it was so good.
And
cookies. She brought cookies.
Yeah. I was man. Such a relief to get in to get in the car and have heat and I fell asleep right away. My Ambrin was driving, so I just passed out. Unfortunately for you,
I had to drive home. That was a difficult drive home for sure.
Oh my god,
I made it, but it was tough. So there was something. That's what I was gonna say. So on our way out, we both had backpacks on.
Yes.
So we have just done whatever 28 and a half hours.
Yeah.
29,000 feet of vert and 60 miles almost. And was it just under 60?
It was
miles?
61.
61 miles. Okay.
61.
So 100K. And here we got to hike out, and I made it. I think I don't know how much yours weighed at this point, but mine had it with the chair. I am very confident that it weighed at least 45 pounds, and maybe it wasn't. That's what it felt like.
Yeah,
but I made it all the way out. And I fell. I did. I twisted my ankle. Not bad. Right on the last step, trying to get. There was like a ditch.
Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just misstepped and fell. Fell on the ground. I was just like, really? Last step, and I fall. But anyway, I was fine. It just was kind of funny. Yeah. So Ambrin was there to make sure, encourage me with laughter, of course.
I'm sure.
Yeah, which I wouldn't trade.
We both kind of mentioned this was a one and done.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing experience, but no need to ever do it again.
No. No. It doesn't matter if it's a different course or it's just a one and done.
Exactly. Yeah. And I so appreciate everybody's support. I've gotten such an outpouring of support on Strava and social media, and this podcast was requested, so I'm glad we had the chance
me too.
to do this together. It was such a fun experience with you.
Yes.
I'm glad we did it together. I'm glad I had you
buddy.
there. And I'm so grateful for Val, for Caleb, for Zach, for Beth, for Ambrin.
Yeah.
Well, for Beth. No, I just it was truly an awesome day.
Yeah.
We couldn't have had a better day to do it. So
we couldn't have.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I want to say I truly enjoyed it, and I'm so grateful for you and getting to have the opportunity to do this with you. And Aaron came up with the idea. He came up with the course, and again, I just want to say I'm grateful for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Love you, my friend.
Love you, my friend.
Well, thank you, Nathan, and congrats to you as well for summiting, for getting through the Everesting, for doing over 29,000 feet of climbing. Absolutely incredible. I did find a website where you can submit your Strava activity from Everesting, and you can do it different ways: quarter, half, full. You can bike, you can run, whatever it is. And they have a Everesting Hall of Fame, so I will put a link in the show notes to that website. I did submit mine, and I actually bought the finisher's medallion just as a token, memento, if you will, to kind of remember this effort. Not that I think I'll ever forget, but pretty cool. Yeah, so submitted that. It was a pretty quick turnaround. The website seems to work better than the mobile app if you do an Everesting. So do it from a desktop or laptop. And it will be a lot easier to get through. So, and if you have done one in the past, easy enough to upload and connect your Strava so they can check it out. Pretty cool. So anyway, amazing experience. So glad I got to reflect on it with Nathan and record this podcast. Something special that I can treasure and go back and listen to myself at some point. If I'm ever thinking of doing Everesting again, it will hopefully deter me from doing so. Not to discourage you all from possibly taking on an Everesting attempt. I think it is such a neat experience. So challenging, obviously, but what a cool thing to get through. So Misoji number 2 for me, complete. That was tough, but I'm glad it's done. So thank you for listening to that, and as always, thank you for being a part of this podcast. And as always, if you're looking for coaching, feel free to reach out. Nathan, during our Everesting, actually, we were talking about coaching and talking about podcasting, and when coaches say they have availability and are looking for athletes, we were talking about like why would an athlete want to join with a coach? And Nathan actually says, because I, Aaron Saft, look for the future. I look for the long term. I want to make sure that people can continue in the sport. I'm concerned with their overall well-being, mentally, physically, and I want to see them continue to be able to do this sport. So really cool insight from one of my own athletes. I do coach Nathan, and Nathan's been with me for, I think we were thinking back, and it was probably around like 2018 that I started coaching Nathan. So he's been with me for 8 years, and I've just seen his growth. And obviously, he's doing amazing things this day and age. But again, seeking longevity in the sport, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to, keep people running and looking 5-10 years into the future as to where they can be and, hopefully still running. So that's one of the reasons that you could potentially join the Running is Life coaching, which is coaching by me. So if you'll consider it, please look into the show notes. All the ways to communicate with me are in there. You can join in our community, our team. I coach about 70 athletes, and it's my full-time job. I enjoy doing it, continue to learn and grow, and try to help these runners. So I appreciate everyone. I appreciate you all for listening, for commenting. The outpouring on social media and Strava was just incredible. It's not the reason I do these things. I hopefully do these things to help inspire others. At 48, almost 49 years old, I want to continue to do these things. As you said, I look for long term, and I want to continue to strive to do these challenging things and show people what is our potential. What can we do? Hopefully we don't find limitations, but that's what it's about. So I'm hoping you're enjoying the podcast, and we'll keep rolling. I'm grateful for the opportunity. So until next time, keep moving forward. Running is life.